us have a look at the category positive of the new rating. So it is a positive change to see the proposed integration of the previous categories, energy, water, and materials, into one category, which will be called positive. As the company that specializes in LCA, life cycle assessment, we strongly support this change, as long as it means also using the LCA assessment across this category. Currently, LCA is a part of the materials credit only, and in some innovation points. However, the separation of energy, water, and materials is no longer necessary, especially considering the advancements in standards and LCA tools that are available on the market and the knowledge we got in the industry. And just thinking about it, how are you going to prioritize what would be better for environment, to use a PV system or a low carbon material or water saving tap? These options need to be modeled and quantified. This way you can have a transparent picture of what's going on in the environmental footprint. And ideally, this calculation should happen before drawings are finished and purchase agreements are signed. eTool believes that a super credit based on the life cycle methodology should be adopted to integrate embodied and operational impact assessment into one model. Under the current Green Star version 1.2, 7 points are achievable for LCA materials, 20 points for greenhouse gas emissions, and 12 points for potable water credit. There is a bit of conflict here between the spoken B6 module operational energy that is assessed in both credits in materials LCA and in greenhouse gas emissions, operational energy emissions. So this is why LCA results would be kept to 3 points if most of the impact savings would come from the B6 module. However, by using the LCA methodology and integrating operational and embodied carbon into one single model, these trade-offs can be avoided and current gaps of the Green Star calculators can be closed. This integration needs to be rewarded either through a higher number of points granted for projects doing an integrated LCA or an innovation credit. Current version 1.2 has significant gaps, resulting in discouraging design teams to choose environmentally friendly materials, and has some issues around point gaming. And this is example why this happens. Let us imagine a design team works really hard to identify low carbon materials that would reduce the overall environmental impacts of their building. And they worked hard. They are getting 3 points in the LCA category for materials choices. They are also getting 3 points for the LCA from the operational energy reductions, because they managed to reduce energy consumption by 50%. And for this, they are getting also 8 points for greenhouse gas emissions credit, right? Now, they decide to install a PV system to increase the operational energy from 50 to 90% and to get 8 additional points for greenhouse gas emission category. However, they're not getting any more points for the LCA. And the problem that occurs here, that this additional PV system suddenly results in increase in some environmental impacts in the materials in the LCA credits. So due to the current rule, they will not be able to claim LCA points for materials and will lose 3 points. At this time, the low impact materials could be removed with no effect to the total Green Star points. So the design team decides not to pursue the original low impact materials, and because excluding them will make no difference to their Green Star points. So this is another example just with different technology. So the design team of a residential building has focused also on some low impact materials and is also achieving 30% energy savings. So this all helps them to get 4 points for LCA, so 1 point for materials choice and 3 points for energy related savings. And also within the greenhouse gas emission credit, they get, for example, 5 points. So now they look into replacing the electric instantaneous solar hot water unit with an electric pump, heat pump. They find out it's only possible with large central units. The design changes add significant impacts to the materials, additional copper ring, pumps, insulation, refrigerants of the heat pump itself, and so on. So this reduces the LCA points for materials to 0. But in the results in the larger savings in the energy, 20%, would guarantee 4 points more for greenhouse gas emissions, and no additional points for the LCA from this. So this means the design team could now just remove the low impact materials with no effect to Green Star points. As outlined in the previous 2 examples, a supercredit has a number of advantages and opportunities to improve the current or the future Green Star rating tool. By integrating embodied and operational impact into the same analysis, some gaming with points can be prevented, and I just explained it before. It could also lower risk of negative trade-offs, for example, trading low carbon materials against energy efficiency. It would create more tangibility for the design team to understand how each improvement and design change would contribute to the whole of building performance. And it would help the design team to prioritize changes, to quantify them, make better decisions. For example, how would you know how a, let's say, recycled carpet would affect the total carbon savings versus a lighting sensor, high efficiency HVAC, or a water fixtures? The integrated approach would help to identify hotspots of a building depending on its type and location. For example, in Victoria, impacts will be dominated by operational energy because of the carbon-intensive grid. But in Tasmania, the embodied impacts, so from materials maintenance, they will be higher because the Tasmanian energy mix is already very low carbon since they use lots of hydropower. Finally, the LCA approach is aligned with the global trend of environmental assessments of buildings, and this global trend is means the use of the whole of building analysis and not reduce it to the embodied impacts only. And the last advantage could be that it could simplify the maintenance of the existing Green Star calculators. It could be a single calculator for energy, water, and materials related impacts.